And welcome back to the Steve XM Show, guys. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to this is day 2 of learning Blender Live. This is this new series that I'm doing. I'm following Grant Abbitt's tutorials on YouTube. Link in the description if you guys want to learn how to learn Blender as well. You can do it, but I'm doing it live so you guys can kind of see the process of how I learn. And, you know, these tutorials are really good. So let's get back into it. We left off. This is episode, what is this? Let's hit play.
Shift D to duplicate.
3? Is this 3?
Left click to keep it in the same place.
This is part 3.
Scale it right down. Side view with 3 on the numpad. G to grab in the Y axis. So G then Y. And pull it outwards. Let's go back
so he's showing us how to do the pupils.
Shift D to duplicate. X to constrain.
So I think I can handle that real quick. So let's switch our views up here. Oops, I screwed everything up. I'll make this full screen real quick. How do I make that go away? There we go. So yeah, I didn't really do anything since last time. I kind of screwed with the mouth between the last episode that I did, episode 1. I actually don't like the mouth now. Hey, welcome to the stream, yo bro Adele. So we'll fix the mouth later, but I'm not really too worried about it right now. I want to get back into the tutorial. So we got to go back into object mode, and I need to be able to select one of these eyeballs. Yeah, I'm going to duplicate one of those. Shift D to duplicate, and then I'm going to use the scale tool, scale it down to the size of a pupil. Boom. We'll look at it from the side view to make sure. Yeah, we're going to grab that and move it in the Y direction. We just want it to stick out of the eye a little bit, I think, probably. Because when we go to color it separately, it'll give it that little illusion. So now that we like that, we can just duplicate this. We haven't learned how to mirror things yet, so it's going to be useful when we doing that. Oh, you're still playing some Arizona Sunshine. Nice, yo, bro. I gotta fix my chair. I'm using this new chair now. You guys can see here. It's actually an older chair, but haven't really used it much. All right, let's grab the sucker. Let's move it in the boom. All right, we got our pupils. Let's see what he's doing to finish this up.
Distance apart. I could box select them all and do the merge vertices by distance again, but it will take the center point between the vertices, and that will give us a
all right, we did that part last time. I learned how that was working last time.
Slightly better way.
That's a really cool tool there.
Alt M, mistake I made at this one.
Alright, so then he's going to do the pupils.
Object mode, side view with 3 on the numpad, G to grab in the Y axis, so G then Y, and pull it out.
Oh, his pupils are sticking out pretty far.
Shift D to duplicate.
That's fine. Ours don't have to look exactly like his.
And move it out to the side there. So we have modeled our character, and you have learned how to manipulate shapes with edit mode.
Look at that thing.
You've learned how to adapt faces, vertices, and edges, and you've learned the loop cut and extrude tools. In the next episode, we'll be adding materials to our person. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Even though the graphics are trash on the quest, that's funny. Yeah, but as long as the gameplay's good, I mean, that's all the game needs. Oh, hashtag ad.
A huge New Year's sale on all.
That should give him double points on his channel.
I'm Grant Abbitt, and today we're going to be continuing our scene that you can see here. And today's episode is colouring in or shading, adding materials to our objects. We're going to be continuing on our man, and we're going to be going through the shader and shading workspace. Remember,
nice.
This is all part of a much bigger course on gabbit.co.uk, where you can go right through from beginner to advanced levels, and all the courses are free. So let's begin. This is where we got to last
Love that
time.
they're free.
And in order to add materials to this person, the best place to go is the shading workspace, if I click on that. So here we're in look dev mode in our 3D viewport here, and it's very bright at the moment, but that's because he's got white materials, so I'll zoom in on him there. We've got what's called the shader below us, and you can change these workspaces up in the corner here, and we're in the shader editor. We've also got the image editor over on the side here, the image editor. And we've got our file browser as well. Now we don't need either of these two because we're going to do very basic shading at the moment, but that's when you want to add images in as your textures. So I'm going to get rid of these 2 panels. If we go to the middle where 2 panels meet, our cursor changes to this, and we can right click and join area, and that gives us this arrow and we can make this one go over that one.
Zoop.
Same up here. Wait till the cursor changes, right click, join area, move that
See, it's
arrow
small stuff like
across,
that I'm probably going to forget.
and get rid of that one. So now we have our workspace and our shader editor down here. So let's add a material to our man's body. Remember, my shortcut keys are down the bottom here. And I've left clicked
I got the shortcut keys as well now.
Torso. So if any of you watched the very beginner's intro,
You guys can see my shortcut keys over here.
Remember the principled shader.
Bottom
Don't worry,
left.
If you haven't seen that, I'll go through.
What do you think about the USA versus Iran?
But at the very basic level, we've
I don't
got the
really know
colour
much about
up
it.
Here. Don't
Be
worry
honest.
about the subsurface color at the moment.
Sounds like a bunch of
You can make your
nonsense to me.
objects metallic. You might want to do that. Usually it's non-metallic, which is 0, or 1, which is completely metallic. And can you see how it changed there? We've also got the roughness, which
Try
is
not to follow the
shiny it
news
is.
too much.
So if I go completely
Especially if it's something that I
shiny,
can't
which
really
is no
affect.
roughness, you can see it's completely reflective, or I can go the other way where it's very rough. And that's affected by whether it's metal or not. So you've got a really plasticky look here with a shiny plastic. If I bring the roughness right up and move around a bit, you can see that sort of shiny plastic look.
Ooh, shiny
Or
metal
if I
man.
bring the metallic up to 1, it's got a very metallic shiny look.
I like how the
which looks really
background's
odd.
like this forest
So
area
bring the
thing or
metallic
something.
back down to 0 and the roughness halfway up. And that's roughly where it was before. And for now, that's the only thing we're going to worry about. You can certainly have a play with these, but your main inputs will be the colour, the metallic, and the roughness. Later on, if we want to make materials bumpy, we use the normal. So let's change this colour to a blue colour. So I'll drag across to the blue, and I'll bring down the tone to somewhere around here. And in fact, I don't want to make it so bright blue, so I'm going to bring the hue into the middle more, and that makes it less saturated. The more you go to the outer parts of the ring, the more saturated it is. If you go to the middle, the less saturated, so you can see what's happening there. And of course, the tone is the kind of brightness of the image. So somewhere around there is great. And then move away from that, and it disappears. Now you'll notice how several of these shapes have changed colour.
A lot of them.
That's because they're sharing this material at the top. I'm going to rename this material, so I'll click in this box and call it blue. And you'll notice how they're all sharing the blue material, so they all see that blue material. And the
Donald Trump ordered to kill a general of Iran for no good reason. Yeah, you know, like I said, I haven't been following it too much, but I'm sure that he would have done that for no reason. You know, I'm sure he did his research, and he had people tell him that that was a high-value target that, you know, potentially could have hurt our country. What do you think of Trump? From what I know about him, you know, I don't, you know, I like him. I mean, not too bad from what I've seen. He's done a lot of good things. The media really likes to paint him as like this crazy lunatic guy. Now, obviously, he's not really a born and raised, you know, political leader, I wouldn't say. But as far as like owning a business and treating the country like it's a business, I don't think it's the worst way to run a regime. So I think he's doing a pretty good job. But there's been worse presidents, I would say. I live in New York, so. Yep, US of A. All right, let's see what he's talking about here. Grant Abbitt. Let's go back a good 10 seconds here.
And you'll notice how they're all sharing the blue material, so they all see that blue material.
Blue. Well, I could probably rename these individually.
And all these other shapes that have just white, they've got no materials.
Well, my hands do
So
have
what
material.
I will do, the arms can have the same colour as the torso, but we'll give him some different coloured trousers. So I'll click on one of these, and I want to create a new material. There's two ways. I can create a new material based on the old one. If I click this, add new material, it will keep it the same as the old one and call it blue 001. So that's
nice.
the first way. I'll change this to dark blue and give him some darker trousers. So click on the colour again, bring it right down, then maybe make them a bit more saturated. And I want the other leg to have the same material. At the moment it's sharing this blue material, so this one's got dark blue, which you can read there, and this one's got the blue material. If I want to change this material for this leg, I can click the down arrow over here
Oh,
and
look at that.
choose the dark blue.
Nice.
and now they both share that material. So any changes I make to this material, let's say I wanted some weird brownie coloured trousers, it changes both of them. So I'm going to put that back to my very dark blue, around there. I'm actually going to increase the roughness as well. Can you see how it's very reflective at the moment? And cloth isn't really reflective, so I can bring up the roughness to somewhere around 7 or 8, and that looks a lot
Oh yeah,
better.
look at that's nice.
I'm going to do the same for the blue, so I'll click on his shirt. Now I've got the blue material, I'll bring up the roughness there as well. So let's create a skin colour and change his face. So let's click on the face, and this time I'm not going to go to the add new, I'm going to delete this material from this object, not deleting the material entirely. So I'll delete the material from this object, and you can see his face goes white, and then add a new material. So that's a slightly different way of doing it. This time we'll create a skin tone, so base colour, and we'll go across to somewhere around here, where the skin tones are, perhaps a little bit darker, and somewhere in there. So I'm having a tiny bit of trouble getting to the spot that I want, so I can zoom in on the colour, and it makes this box bigger. There we go. So we've got some objects that are going to share that material. So the hands are going to share this material with the face.
Let me zoom in on the color, hold on.
And somewhere in there. So I'm having a tiny bit of trouble getting to the spot that I want, so I can zoom in on the colour, and it makes this box bigger.
Interesting.
There we go. So we've got some objects that are going to share that material. So the hands are going to share this material with the face.
I can make this Trump man.
I can use this down arrow and choose material, because I forgot to rename it. So let's click on that, and I'm going to rename it skin. In fact, skin light, because the nose and the lips will have a darker colour. Now I can click on the other hand and obviously go down here and press skin light. But if I had loads of objects that I wanted to share the same colour as this hand, I can select all those objects with shift, and then select the one I want to copy from last. So shift select the one you want to copy from, and that's highlighted a sort of yellowy colour, where the other objects will all be orange. In fact, I will colour the torch the same colour just for the sake of an example. So we've got those two selected, and this one last, that's yellow, and these two are orange.
I'm going to change my skin color here a little bit. It's a little bright. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, he doesn't really look too human-like right now. Trump's speech made me really pissed today, yo bro, Dell is saying. Whereabouts are you from, yo bro? I didn't listen to his speech yet, and probably won't listen to it. Stuff doesn't really interest me that much, to be honest. It's pretty boring. Pretty boring stuff. That looks a little bit better.
If I press Ctrl L, I can then link the materials. So make links, materials, and they'll share the same materials. I'll come back to the torch in a second. Looks a bit odd at the moment. And I'll just create materials for each of the other objects. So the ears, I forgot about them. Select both those and select the skin or the face and press Ctrl L, link materials.
Hold on, how do you link materials?
As this hand, I can select all those objects with shift, and then select the one I want to copy from last. So shift select the one you want to copy from, and that's highlighted a sort of yellowy colour, where the other objects will all be orange. In fact, I will colour the torch the same colour just for the sake of an example. So we've got those two selected, and this one last, that's yellow, and these two are orange. And if I press Ctrl L, I can then link the materials. So make links, materials, and they'll share the same materials. I'll come back to the torch in a second. Looks a bit odd at the moment. And I'll just create materials for each of the other objects. So the ears, I forgot about them. Select both those and select the skin or the face and press Ctrl L, link materials. And now your task is to add materials for the other parts except for the torch, because I'll go into that in a second.
Cool. He's making the boots brown, darker nose. All right, I should be able to handle this. I'll do some of this on my own. So Let's fix up our hair. We'll make a nice little brown hair. Do a new material. We'll call this hair. Let's go with a brown. So Yo Bro Adele's saying from YouTube, he's saying the general of Iran did nothing wrong. They were suspecting if they were suspecting they should lock him up instead of kill. It's just putting oil on fire, mate, and boosting his own ego. Yeah, I mean, I think they're worried about I think they're worried about nuclear weapons, I think is the main issue, I think is what they're worried about. If I had to guess. Brown's always a hard color to make here. That looks pretty good. Alright, so he's got some hair. Now I think what he was showing earlier, he made the hand color a little bit lighter than the face. I'm not really sure why. But I think I'm just going to leave mine all the same. Let's give him some nice pupils here. We could even get fancy and do... hold on a second. Oh, I love it when you hit the cough button and it doesn't work. That's one downside of these Blue Yetis is cough button's a bit hard to hit. All right, new color. We'll call this pupil. Boom. Base color, make that sucker black. Then we're gonna link it. Boom. Actually, I can just probably select it from here. Pupil. What kind of nose do we want to give him? He's making his nose dark. Whatever, we'll do it. Like the same color as his hair. I'll make a separate nose color here. That time the cough button worked. New color, nose. Nose, mouth, we'll call it, because we're gonna use it for both. Oh, that's kind of cool. We'll just make it like a little... I suppose we could have copied from that one and then made it a little darker. All right, let's link these suckers. Control L, materials, link. That looks pretty good, actually. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna go with a gray for the torch or flashlight, depending where you're from. Actually, I think he's gonna do the flashlight last. Yo bro saying Donald Trump literally just spent... Oh, can I get this bigger? I can scale it up. $2.5 trillion on weapons. He could have given it to the poor American already. Already had a powerful army. Yeah, you know, there's definitely a big debate on money spent on the military versus money spent on things like education and poor people. But I mean, you'd be surprised. Don't know. Whoa, why did that all just change? Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Oh, these need to be called shoes. You'd be surprised. To stay ahead of the rest of the world, military-wise, very expensive. Probably one of the most expensive things in the world to do. Very expensive. All right, so we can select both of these. We can delete. There we go. Okay. And we can call these ones shoes. Yeah, that military stuff is not cheap. Now we're talking about like space defense and stuff like that. Like, stuff's gonna get insanely expensive. I mean, the money is really just fake anyways. It's fake money. Let's link these suckers. Yo bro saying also Israel got America's back. America has one of the most powerful armies. Oh good. Nothing to worry about then, you know? We're all friends. Man, this guy's starting to look pretty sweet, isn't he? I wish I could get rid of that stuff so I could see better. Let's see. I don't know how to get rid of that stuff. Like the coordinate system. Alright, let's go back to the tutorial. Let's see what this guy's saying.
So it's all textured apart from the torch. And I feel like the mouth doesn't stick out enough. So if I wanted to change anything about my model, I can click on that mouth. Now I can edit this in the shading workspace, but I can easily
Yeah, 40 bucks is kind of expensive, yo, bro, for that game.
Full screen, and I can change it easily there.
You could have bought
Also,
Skyrim.
I've already got this set
Well,
to
not in Quest, but
solid shading, which makes it easier to see. And I can just scale this in the Y, scale, S then Y, to make that mouth a bit bigger. And I feel it's a little bit wide, so I'll scale in the X to make it shorter. Did you see how it's scaled from my pivot point, which is over the side here? So I'm going to have to grab it in the X and move that across just a touch. And then he looks a bit more shocked. And then I can go back to my shading mode and carry on with the shading. Don't worry if your colours don't match perfectly my outline down the bottom here.
this looks pretty good.
Because these will change as we go to rendered view and add the lighting. So let's talk about the torch. So I click on the torch and I want two materials on here. I want an emission at the front here and a black texture for the body of the torch. So let's create the body of the torch first. So I'll just cross this one out and add a dark grey. Somewhere around there. And let's zoom in on this. So full stop on your number.
Dark gray, he's going dark gray. Something like that. Full stop on the keypad, or period for those from the US, other places.
Numpad or period key on your numpad.
Oh, he did say period, look at that.
I'll just move away from that a second, because some people are saying that's not working for them. If you alt middle click on a space, that will zoom your camera into it as well. So
oh, really?
Full stop or period key on your numpad,
nice.
or alt middle click, and you can move in on objects.
Chew.
With that as well.
Leg.
So our torch has changed, but we need to change this front area here. There's two ways of doing this. We can make the front area a separate object, and that's possibly the better and more efficient way because it's easier to change afterwards. But I will show you how you can add different materials, so two or more materials to one object. Let's go into edit mode with tab on my keyboard, and that brings up edit mode here. I'm already in face mode. Now have a think, how do I change those modes from vertex, edges
1,
to
2,
faces?
and 3?
That's 1, 2, and 3 on the keyboard. You can see it changing down here, 1, 2, and 3. So with face mode selected, I just want this outside one here, so I can select just that one. Now if I go to a slightly different area now, the material tab over here, and click on that, this gives me the principled BSDF shader, and it's all the same as the principled BSDF shader here. So at the moment it's on dark grey, and you can see the base colour is the same on both. And you can read across here, they're all the same. So this area is another way to get to here, but it's just not as detailed. But there are a couple of things that will help us. We've got this at the top, which is how many materials are on this object, and it's just one. And we can actually add a new material.
Look at that.
If I press the plus sign, I can add a new material there.
Nice.
It's got a new material slot, but there's no material in there, here or here. So we need to press either new here or here.
You guys can't see what I'm hitting.
This place this time, and you can see it's added that new material, and they're both the same. And this time, I'm going to use something slightly different. This is fairly new. There's an emission down here. So I click on the emission, bring it up, and change it slightly yellowy. Nothing's happening on my object, but I have this new light material. So I'll rename it there. I could also rename it in here by double clicking, or in here as well. But what I've got underneath that is three options: assign, select, and deselect. And assign is the one I want. With that face selected, I press assign, and it will assign that material to that face. So if I had these faces selected, and I click on that light material, because at the moment, and assign.
Gotta rewind that for a second.
With that face selected, I press assign, and it will assign that material to that face. So if I had these faces selected, and I click on that light material, because at the moment it's dark grey, so light material, and press assign, it assigns it to those faces.
Nice.
So let's select those again.
So if I want to do every other, I could do that.
To the dark grey, so I'll click on the dark grey and assign them to that instead.
That's pretty cool.
And with my light material, I might just make it a bit more yellowy. Seems slightly more atmospheric. Okay, so now we've managed to texture our man. There's a challenge for you now. Try and create the monster. If you look closely, you'll notice it's mainly cubes, but there are some slightly edited cubes where I've pulled one of the edges in or across. If that's too complicated, just use cubes, and I'll go through in the next episode how I made the monster, but with just a brief overview this time. So by the end of the next episode, we'll have all our scene ready for the lighting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
We're almost done with the tutorial, guys. This is pretty cool. All right, let's try to make the monster on our own real quick. Doesn't have to look exactly like his anyways. This will be fun. This will be more of
Hello
a
world, Happy New Year.
go away.
Now.
This will more be a just challenge for myself. So let's go back into select mode. Let's grab this guy. Let's grab everything on the scene rather. And let's, whoa. Why is it grabbing that? Oh, I'm in edit mode. Object mode, let's grab it all. Actually, I don't want to grab the floor. Can I control select? Maybe shift select. There we go. Okay, so grab. Let's move them in. Let's move them in the Y and move them back here. I want to draw my monster over here. Yeah, this guy looks pretty cool. Might make his eyes a little bit bigger though. Let's do that. Scale these puppies up. I can actually probably select both and scale them both at the same time. Just make them a bit bigger so there's a bit more expression. So what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to delete this one. Because to keep them consistent, it's going to be easier to just duplicate them. So I'm going to go back to this view. I'm going to shift D those suckers, grab them, move them in the X, and voila. All right, let's make our monster. I kind of wish I could remove these lights sources. I don't know how to hide those. I don't like looking at them, but I don't know. I don't really know how to do that, so could Google it, but show overlays. So there we go. We don't need those. $2.5 trillion. You could give 1 billion people $5,000. Sounds like a lot of money. I could take $5,000 right now. It would help me a little bit, but honestly, it wouldn't make or break my world. I'd probably rather have a secure military, to be honest. If you don't got a secure military, then, you know, you're gonna end up becoming someone's slave or worse. Ask Trump. Ask him for the money. All right, let's start making our monster. Let's shift right click. Oh, did that hide my other overlay? Oh, I need the overlay then, damn. Where'd that go? All right, so let's add a cube. We're gonna make these black to start. So I'm gonna make a new material called monster. And we're gonna make this a nice purpley dark black thing. Little hue of purple in it, I think will make it look cool. His is like perfectly black, but I'm going more with like a demon from like Hearthstone kind of look. Warlock type thing. All right, so I'm gonna take a look at his monster. So yeah, he's just got big feet, arms coming out of it. Military is already one of the best. Yeah, it's debatable though. There's some things that Air Force pilots have seen that they don't know what they are. So maybe it's some of our top secret weapons, but it possibly could be in other countries. There could be a country out there that we don't even know that has highly advanced weaponry. We just don't know. They see an unidentified flying objects. What is that stuff, man? I don't know. All right, can we grab this down in the Z? Boom. Shift D to duplicate. Grab it in the Z. Oh, what just happened? Oh, I just duplicated that. I want to Shift D, grab Move it in the Z. I'm gonna scale it. Damn, your graphics design is so cool, you can make the game. Can I have a free copy? Yeah, you know, I'm actually thinking about possibly making a game at some point. Funny you mentioned that. I think I want to make some VR games. I was looking at some videos the other day on how to make VR games in Unity. It looks surprisingly not as complicated as you would think. I mean, I'm sure it's still pretty freaking tough, but it looked like I could follow it, what they were doing. I could probably make a simple, you know, bowling game or something dumb like that pretty easily. All right, so that looks fine for the arms. Now let's duplicate that again. Grab it in the Z. Guess that part doesn't matter too much because we're gonna scale this sucker. Yes, we are gonna scale it. Let's make it longer. Then we're gonna scale it again in the X. And let's look at it from the top view. We want this part to be kind of like a cube. So scale it in the Y maybe. Go. Now that's a little too small, so what we'll do here, I wish I had some outlines on these. Scale it in the Y. What did I just edit? Okay. That actually might work. Right, we can scale this whole thing up now in all dimensions. That looks decent. Okay, so this is his arm. This is where it comes in contact with his hoof-like hands. I think I need to extend this a bit more, though. Yo, Dice, welcome to the channel, man. Welcome, welcome. Just learning some Blender, you know, learning how to do some cool things. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. We're gonna grab that in the Z, make it a little bit longer, his legs. I can always cut through that anyways. How's Yo Dice been? Good, I hope. Now I'm gonna rotate this whole thing, so let's go in object mode. Let's do rotate. What? In the Y? Nope. Okay, just slightly rotate it there. I'm gonna grab it and drop it down in the Z a little bit just so it's in there. Should be good. Yeah, we can see there that it's underneath the rest of the material. Yeah, so I'm making Yo Dice for those that just joined. I'm making the scene right here using this tutorial online. So we got our man-made. Now we're attempting to make the monster rather. I think I'm doing pretty good here. One thing I would recommend, and I should probably tell Abbitt. Is that his name? I always get the name wrong. Grant Abbitt. I like combine the things. Yeah, Grant Abbitt. Maybe just include some picture files. I wonder if he did in the description. Yeah, a couple of picture files of the front view and side view of these characters would be good for reference. I mean, you can pause the video on that, but sometimes it's hard to get a good view of them. All right, let's duplicate this sucker. So I'm only doing one arm because we're just going to duplicate the arms at the end. Yeah, let's just move it in the Z for now. Oh, look at that. It moves it along that axis. That's kind of cool. Scale that sucker up. It's going to be like the shoulder. And so what he's doing here is we're going to edit this. We're going to grab the face and we're going to bring it back down in the Z, which is kind of weird because, oh, look at that. It follows its own path. I like that. Viper FX, what are you making? Oh, welcome to the channel. We're following Grant Abbitt's, this is my very first time learning Blender. So we're on episode number 4 of his tutorial. Or we're about to be on episode number 5. But we're trying to make the monster right now from this scene. Can I go to the beginning to show what it looks like with the effects? Yep. He teaches you how to do all this stuff here. Right now I'm just taking a stab at doing the monster on my own. I think he's going to show how to make it. But it doesn't look too complicated. Like I said, it's kind of hard to get a good view of it. Actually, maybe I'll use this as my reference here. Yeah, this is a little bit easier to see, his view here. Yeah, this should be pretty cool. So that's a bit wider than this one here. That's the front, so it gets a bit wider in this dimension. So I can probably just grab this face. Now the only thing is, when you start to want to scale these things in different dimensions, it becomes a bit weird. That's okay. Alright, so now I'm going to grab this one. I want to do a split on it somewhere. I don't like that. I don't like how it turned out. Let's undo some things. I know what I need to do. I need to... Where'd my... Oh, I need this. I'm going to do a loop cut here. On the face. I'm going to do a loop cut there. And I think that kind of like adds a face in there, I think. Let's see if I can grab that face now. No, I just made like an edge. But what I could do is I can join these vertices, I think. I can go to vertices select and I can move this one with the grab tool close to that one. This one I can move close to this one. Actually, I'm going the wrong way right now. Let's undo. I want to bring these ones over here. Boom. Boom. See, like I wasn't even close. It's really hard to move in 3 dimensions with a mouse. That's why you kind of have to use the tools and the views. It gets really complicated. I've been learning a couple of weeks and I'm making a forest with a close-up deer shot in it. I'm quite bad at light rendering though. Yeah, I don't know much about it yet. I mean, this is brand new to me. But so far I'm liking it. You know what's going to be easier to do? I just realized it's going to be easier if I just duplicate this. I think. Shift D, duplicate. Grab it. Let's go to the side view. Yeah, see, that's going to be hard to line it up now. I don't like that either. All right, I know what the best way to do it then is. Unfortunately, the best way to do this is just by making that block separate before you tilt it. So we're going to bring in a new block here. I'm going to bring it in right here. I'm going to bring in a cube. I'm going to give it the property monster. So it's the same color. Let's scale it down. Something like that. And then I can just duplicate, grab in the Z. Oh. Duplicate, grab in the Z. Like that. Just kind of layer them together. Now this is the one I'm going to edit here. So I'll go from a side view. And we'll go to the vertices. Watch this. This will be pretty cool. Let's go to edit mode. Oh, actually, I could just grab that edge. I didn't think about that. That would work. I can grab this whole edge and I can move it over here. Boom. Then I can select the vertices and I can merge them. Right click, merge vertices by distance. And then we just need to increase our distance, which should be right here. Let's just increase it a little bit until they merge. There we go. All right, they merged. I can do the same thing actually over here with these ones if I want to make it one whole thing. Now, if I go to wireframe mode, you can see those easier. Oh, does that not have vertices anymore? Hell. Oh, it's because I'm not in that object. I have a beautiful shot in my head, but it's probably going to end up looking like it's from MS Paint. Yeah, good luck with that one. I don't really have any recommendations other than maybe look at some YouTube videos. Maybe look at Grant Abbitt's channel here. Let me see if I got a link to it here. I know it's in my description for this video, but let me throw it in the chat. This is just a link to one of his videos I'm on right now, but you can get to his channel there. I'm sure he's got some good links for some special effects stuff. That's interesting. I don't know how to merge those now. What I could do... Uh-oh, my headset's gonna die. That's not cool. I think it did just die. Alright, we don't need that. Yeah, see, I don't like that now. Alright, let's get out of edit mode. Let's just move this one up in the Z. Grab it in the Z. I'm just going to try to get it really close to the other one. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to bring this with the edit mode. I'm going to bring that edge down a bit in the Z. Grab Z, bring it down. That's kind of like the shoulder. Whoa, his shoulder looks way different. Oh, I see what he did. I did it all wrong. Oh, that's what the undo button's good for. Boom, 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 boom. How many undos do I get? Alright, let's grab it in the Y. He just kind of gives it a little shoulder there. Hello, lovelies. Hey, Steve, how's Blender going? Blender's going amazing. What's up, Robin? Steve, imagine Trump would spend $2.5 trillion on production for a VR game. Wow. Yeah, pretty soon we're going to need VR games, you know, to escape our horrible realities. Hopefully not yet, but... Alright, so this is not looking too much like his, but I got an idea what'll make it look better. So let's go back in object mode. Let's grab the sucker, move it in the Z. Close enough. I'm going to scale both of these in a specific dimension. I'm not sure which one yet. Yes, in the X. Let's make it a bit wider. It's a shoulder. And I do need to rotate all of that because that's all in the wrong dimension. So I'm going to rotate all. I don't want to rotate that. Let's rotate about this axis. And that should be good, but I want to get a specific number. So I'm going to come over here, my toolbar, and see. I thought there's some rotation for all that. Oh, here's the angle. Here's the rotate. Let's do that 90. 90. Boom. All right, so now we know that's 90. All right, let's grab this and bring it down. That's at an angle too, isn't it? Certainly is. We can rotate this 90. Grab, rotate. Where the hell's my rotate tool? Rotate in the X, 90. Maybe. No, we didn't want that. Rotate in the Y, 90. Damn, I don't know how we want to rotate that. Oh, the cat's trying to get in here. That's scary. Alright, that's fine. This should do. So we're going to do a similar thing here. We're just going to move this over a little bit. Got the side view there. Bring that sucker down a little bit. Z. And this should be pretty good for an arm. Now the only thing is we want to skew this a little bit too. Oh, hold on a second, guys. The graphics would be so polished in an 80-hour campaign. That'd be insane. Trump-sponsored VR game. So you do this for fun like a hobby or something for more like a career. I'm 15 and waiting to pursue a VFX career. Yeah, no, you can definitely get paid doing this stuff for sure. I do it for fun. I got a YouTube channel. I plan on using some of these skills to make my own artwork for my channel. So that'll be cool. I like custom things that, you know, I do on my own. Ooh, this is looking good. All right, let's duplicate this whole thing. I'm happy enough now with my monster arm. My monster arm is going to be a bit bigger than his. It's okay. All right, let's Shift D that. And let's move it in the X over. We're going to rotate this whole thing 180 degrees in this dimension. Just change this to 180. Boom. And that's going to give our... Oh, crap. I should have mirrored that. Maybe I can rotate all this stuff in 180? I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. Crap. Let's just see what happens. Only one way to know. No, it's not going to work. Yeah, I need the mirror tool. I don't know how to mirror yet. Maybe he'll show us how to mirror. What time is it?
I lost my watch.
7:38. All right, we got time to check this out a little bit here. Let me make sure. I think my headset died though. You rendered in the lighting yet or after the monster? Yeah, he shows how to do the lighting after this video here. This is a 13-minute video on how to do the monster. Hey, Simon.
Howdy.
Can you hear me?
What's that?
Oh, here's my
Just
thumbnail.
showcasing
That's
you.
cool. That's the thumbnail we just made for this. All right, so let's take a look at what he's doing here.
Doing it, and I'm going to show you what I think is the most easy way and efficient way.
I need a
I'll
mirror
start a new
tool.
scene,
I don't know how to do the
and I'll
mirror
just
yet.
explain how I made it. You can follow along if you like. Now remember, front view is the x-axis going across, and I'll just grab my box and move it in the x-axis over
Yep,
to one
US
side.
here, New York
And that can
time,
be its
Eastern,
feet.
East
Now I can
Coast.
duplicate this with Shift D and grab in the Z-axis. Just press Z once you pressed Shift D. And
I'm
then
gonna skip through a little bit of this because I kind of got my legs done already. I like the way they're done.
Local, then I don't have to double click. I can press G to all these. It's not that slow. And it
Ooh,
is a
what did
way.
he just do here?
And Shift D in the X-axis and duplicate them all.
So he did
across to
use
the other
that.
side. It's not that slow, and it is a way of doing it, but there's a more efficient
Ooh,
way
mirror,
of using
mirror,
a
mirror.
mirror modifier. So let's talk about the mirror modifier a touch. First of all, I'll create the body. So I'm going to press Shift A and create a new cube right in the center. Now that's important that I've added it in the center because its pivot point is right in the center of the grid. That will make more sense in a second. Let's scale it up and grab it in the Z-axis. Come around to the side and we'll rotate it in the X to somewhere around there. Now I'm going to take a moment to explain the mirror tool. So let's go into edit mode first. Tab into edit mode. And if I mirror this object now, it will mirror around the center point, or the pivot point as it's known, and it will create a whole new cube because we have a whole cube here. Now that's difficult to explain, but I'll go to the mirror modifier. So modifiers are under the spanner or the wrench if you're American. Click on add modifier, and we have a mirror modifier there. Now as I've said, it's just created a whole new cube.
Second,
because
guys,
it's
I gotta
mirroring
rewind
the
this.
whole thing along the x-axis. So if I press G now, that will grab all my vertices because I have vertices selected. Pull them out and you can see that other cube, and it's being mirrored around the pivot point in the middle. So what we actually want to do, we want to cut the cube in half so that we've got a mirrored half. So I'm going to do that over here. So Control R.
Let me just rewind this so I can see where you got to the mirror tool.
Difficult to explain, but I'll go to the mirror modifier. So modifiers are under the spanner or the wrench if you're American. Click on add modifier, and we have a mirror modifier there. Now as I've said, it's just created a whole new cube because it's mirroring the whole thing along the x-axis. So
I
if
got my
press
glasses on, I
G
still
now,
can't see
that
it.
will grab all my vertices because I have vertices selected. Pull them out and you can see that other cube, and it's being mirrored around the pivot point in the middle. So what we actually want to do, we want to cut the cube in half so that we've got a mirrored half. So I'm going to do that over here.
What am I doing wrong?
So Control R.
Let's see what he did.
Mirroring the whole thing along the x-axis. So if I press G now, that will grab all my vertices because I have vertices selected. Pull them out and you can see that other cube, and it's being mirrored around the whole thing. Click on and it will create a whole new cube because we have a whole cube here. Now
Interesting. I'd love an 80-hour campaign. Steve, would you play that game? Yeah, I would. I don't really have much time these days for long campaign games, but Boneworks is like the longest game I played in a while. I'm gonna be beating that soon. Oh, you know what? I don't have my... Is that my origin? I don't know if that's my origin. So I should be able to mirror this stuff, you would think. Let's try it with the plane. Let's add modifier. Mirror. Let's mirror it about all three. Who cares? Let's grab it. See, I don't think it's working. Yeah, I don't really know how that works yet with the origin. I'm gonna have to look that one up. I think I'm gonna cut this one short because I'm not quite sure. Oh, mirror object. Failed to set value. Apply, grab. I'm doing something wrong. I'm gonna have to take a look at this video a bit more, but I guess I can sum up what we did in the video today. I can at least make a nice little outro part here. So I had this idea that I wanted to do. Let's see if I can get it done. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna open up Gimp real quick. Let's start a new file here. New. We are going to make it transparent background. So let's just make a new layer. And let's put some text here. We're gonna call this white. And this is gonna be caps lock, learning, Blender, live. Let's make that italic actually, that look good. I'm gonna add a little border to that to make it look kind of cool. I'm gonna try to bring this into Blender real quick to get a nice little 3D effect shadow with my man. Get some lighting in there, so. Let's just add a nice little border to this real quick. Boom, boom. That border is kind of thick, let's undo that. We'll go down to like a 7 on the border. And of course, we're going to use black for our border here. And that looks good. All right, so let's just export this to the desktop as a PNG text.png. Now, I'm not 100% sure how to open this in Blender, actually. That might be a problem. Might be a problem. Let's see if we can figure it out. There's got to be like an import button here or something. File, import. Oh boy. Import SVG. Oh, we might be able to save that as an SVG. Let's try that. File, export as text.svg. Let's see if that works. Can't do that. I thought there was a way to open up image files. Import. Dang, my ID just got shut down. Yeah, I was going to import that text and I was going to extrude it. Make it look cool in 3D. There's another way we can do it, I think. Yeah, we can just do it in here. Okay, so let's add some text. Unless there's an add image in here. Okay, we can add an image, okay. Let's add a reference image from the desktop. Oh, it wants JPEGs? Where's my text.png? Oh, I didn't save it to the desktop. File, export as desktop, text.png, boom, boom, boom. Then we can import, let's refresh this. Oh, there it is, okay. Oh, that might work, this might work. Let's grab this up, move it in the Z. Oh, sweet, look at this. Right, here it is. So we can right-click this and we can do something with it, I think. We might be able to like convert this to an object or something. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't really know how to do this, so there's probably a way though you can just like turn this into an object and you can manipulate it more, but right now not quite sure. So we'll just finish this up by getting a nice picture of our man. So let me just grab him and place him in a spot. Actually, I can just move this whole platform. Grab this, move it in the Y. Boom. I can still try to incorporate this text. Might work. Might be pretty cool. Grab it in the Z, let's bring it up high. Let's rotate that sucker. Learning Blender live. All right, it's got a good camera angle for our shot here. Let's scale this whole thing up too. We can go into a render mode. That's pretty cool. We'll do one without the image file. Let's move our flashlight a bit closer to his hand too. I don't like that. Grab it in the Y, the X. All right, this is looking pretty freaking good. And of course, our light sources are all over the place now, but move one of them back here. And we'll move another one over here. Nice little double shadow effect going on there. We need some more light in the front of him though. You can't really see him that well. There we go. He's scared. All right, good. Now we're ready to render this. So we're gonna lock our camera. This is what I learned from all the stuff I learned from the first couple tutorials. So view, lock camera to view. Now we can move the camera around manually here. Pretty easily. And I'm thinking thumbnail wise, so I'm going to be making a thumbnail out of this, so I want to have room for text and stuff like that. So that looks pretty good. We can render that. We go render image, boom. And it rendered it pretty freaking quick. We can render it with more advanced lighting though. Let's do that. Let's change our render mode over here to cycles. Get some really fancy lighting. Super reflective, advanced lighting stuff. Render image. Ooh, that's gonna take a little bit of a time, isn't it? A minute remaining. So yeah, guys, this is Learning Tilt Brush Live, episode number 2. We're gonna be wrapping this up as soon as this guy renders. And this will be the thumbnail for the episode, actually. I kind of make the thumbnail at the end of the episode based on what we did that episode. Hey, look at that. The shadow looks really good there. Texture on the clothes turned out good. Oh no, I left his shoes shiny. That's kind of funny. We'll leave it though. It'll be a nice little secret. Shiny shoe, scared man. I think his hair shiny too. That kind of makes sense though, having shiny hair. So we got another 30 seconds to render this. But yeah, again, for those that are learning Blender or other, I mean, really, you don't even need to care about 3D modeling to want to use Blender. You can use it for like animating text, kind of like in 3 dimensions, so it spins around. You can do cool stuff like that. Blender also has a really good video editor mode on it as well. So for those that are doing video editing, some of my upcoming videos that I'm going to be editing, I'm going to be doing some voice attack. That's a voice-controlled computer program. I'll probably be using Blender actually to edit those videos. This is ending in 10 seconds. Okay. And we are done, guys. This is how it ends. So this will be the thumbnail. You guys get to see it, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in. Next time we will finish the monster, and we should be able to finish the lighting all in the same episode. So that'll conclude the intro part of the series. But I will catch you guys on the next episode, y'all. Peace.